How do the concerns that are brought up help shape the legislation? You know, how are you factoring in those concerns into amendments and ultimately refining the bill?
That's an important part of how it's different in Texas. Sometimes on TV we'll see hearings in Washington in Congress, and they'll have a few witnesses testify, and I guess people are paying attention, but it's not very many witnesses. It's pretty well scripted. But here in Texas, we'll have invited testimony, and then anyone who wants to can testify. So we hear from folks who are against the bill, who are for the bill, some from businesses, some from professional groups, but a lot of just regular people like the folks we represent. And so we listen, and they think of things we hadn't thought about, and the bills get amended in the process. It's a good system.
As we walked through that process, you know, the bill did get refined, and ultimately on its way out is somewhat different than the way it started. What are the key objectives that you are hoping to accomplish with Senate Bill 7?
Senate Bill 7 is about how we conduct our elections. We want to make that process better. We want to be refining and improving it as we go. Senate Bill 7 will make it easier to vote and harder to cheat, and that's the idea. So things in Senate Bill 7, like when you're in line at the polling place. If you get there, you're waiting in line, and the polling place closes, Senate Bill 7 makes sure that you will get to vote. You can't be kept out just because the lines were long. That wouldn't be right. Senate Bill 7 clarifies that. Also says if you request a ballot by mail, if you're 65 or over, or you're disabled, or you're going to be out of the county, you request that ballot by mail. Many folks tell us that they don't know if their ballot's going to make it in time. We're not sure where it is. What happened? I requested my ballot. Senate Bill 7 provides a tracking system. Just like when you order a package online, you can go online with that tracking number and see where your package is. We'll have a system just like that for your ballot. Only you, of course, can check on where your ballot is. And then after you cast your ballot, what about a paper backup? What about a system to make sure that we can do a recount, that we can know the vote was accurate, the tally was accurate? So processes like that to make sure it works, make sure folks can have confidence in the system, and also security is part of integrity as well. We talked about those mail ballots. The law in Texas says 65 or over, disabled, are going to be out of the county. Those folks can get a mail ballot. But able-bodied citizens who are going to be around vote in person. That's how we do it in Texas. That's how most states do it. We know that system works. And so it protects those processes. And how about poll watchers? As you know, poll watchers are from both political parties. Candidates can have poll watchers there. And those poll watchers in the polling place and in central counting, they're the eyes and the ears of the public. So this bill makes sure that they have access to what's going on so they can do their job. They're there to observe the election workers and make sure the law is being followed. And then as we get through the process, there are checks in this bill to make sure the machines are working right, make sure they're programmed properly, and make sure we're auditing those things. So really from beginning to end, it's about making sure the voter rolls are accurate, the election process, mail ballots, in-person voting, and also the tabulation and the reporting of the numbers. At every step, it tries to make the process better.
What do you say to critics who say that this goes in the wrong direction? You know, we've heard the phrase "the new Jim Crow" being used by Democrats, which essentially feels like a heavy-handed way to just say minorities would suffer disproportionately from this bill. What's your response to those criticisms?
It's unfortunate when in Texas we're having a policy discussion and folks want to inject national political stuff. And I don't mean you, I mean people who bring that up, because it does come up, and they'll talk about Georgia or Pennsylvania. Those are nice states, nice people there. Senate Bill 7 is about Texas elections. For a long time, we've been working on making the process better. In 2017, Texas legislature passed some mail ballot reforms. They've been helpful. 2019, we had Senate Bill 9 pass the Senate with some similar reforms. This is part of that process. So I do hear what you're saying. And again, many folks are trying to draw this into a national debate, and these groups send out emails to raise money and to get people riled up. And really that whole discussion, it just seeks to divide us. But Senate Bill 7 on Texas elections is about making the process safer, more effective, and more reliable for everyone across the board.
There was discussion during the debate on this bill about the effect that this would have on urban communities. What is your response to, and I guess how do you hope that this legislation will reduce the strain on urban populations that do have larger voting populations and longer lines as a result?
Historically in Texas and in America, polling places have been distributed evenly based on population without regard to politics. Unfortunately, some of our larger counties in recent election cycles have used their partisan power to put more polling places where their party's voters are and fewer polling places where the opposition party has their voters. It's not fair. It's rank politics. And so this bill says in our counties of 1 million or more, and those are Republican and Democratic run counties, in those counties of 1 million or more, polling places will be distributed based on population of eligible voters, not on the voters that turn out, but on eligible voters. It's the cleanest, most non-discriminatory measure available anywhere. It's about eligible voters. That's who the polling places are for. So this bill says, be fair, don't cheat when you're putting out those polling places. And the fact that people complain about this so much might tell us something about what's been happening in some of these urban counties.
When this legislation takes effect, millions of Texans will be affected by a polling place that maybe they used to go to that won't be there anymore. And they'll have to find another place to cast their vote, creating a new situation in terms of lines in other locations that maybe there wasn't long lines historically at this location. Now we got to find a new place where there's going to be a longer line, et cetera. What is the remedy for that?
The lines should be better after Senate Bill 7 because, again, the polling places will be determined based on eligible voters, where the voters are, not where the politicians want to give themselves an advantage and hurt their opponents, but the polling places where the voters are. That's what Senate Bill 7 is about.
Not all legislation's perfect, and I don't think anyone pretends to have written a perfect bill in this legislature. How do you hope that this, as this moves forward in the process, how are you building upon what has been done, and what do you hope to do moving forward in the future as well?
Well, as you know, a bill's got to go through the House and the Senate, signed by the governor, so multiple sets of eyes take a look at it from different viewpoints, and that's how the process works, and usually it works pretty well. Bills get better as the process goes along, and that's happened with Senate Bill 7. So it's on its way to the House. The House is sending us some election bills as well, and so we're going to compare notes, look at what we learned, look at testimony we heard, and put the best elements in the final bill. So the process is working like it's supposed to.
There was discussion on the House side of the House election, overarching election bill, where there was talk about what's the bigger mistake, to keep someone from voting or to count a bad vote. Where do you land on that?
We want to get it right. We want to make sure that every eligible voter is able to vote and that their vote's counted accurately and that they know it's counted accurately. I don't think it surprises anyone that as people lose faith in the process, they lose faith in the equipment or the way the votes are counted or the way the election's conducted. As people lose faith in that process, they're less likely to vote, and we all lose if that happens.